you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the fall!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens. Leur 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Thursday, April 4th, the Montreal Canadiens lose by a score of 7-4 to the Tampa Bay Lightning and also lose Guhle for how long? Hopefully we can find out any minute now as we'll hear from Montreal Canadiens head coach Martin St. Louis, but it was just over 4 minutes into the hockey game. Guhle had been on the ice for about 1:14 up until that point. He was hit right in the numbers by Nikita Kucherov. Was there a penalty on the play? Of course not. Kucherov's one of the best players in the National Hockey League, and as you know, they are held to a different standard than everyone else. Would have been a fourth-line player. He would have been in the box for 5 minutes boarding, ejected from the game, and there'd be a hearing, and he'd possibly be suspended. At the same time, I like Kucherov as a player, but it's too bad that something like that had to happen. We hope that for Caden Guhle, it's not a concussion because, as we know, he suffered a concussion already, and so that would be two of them documented. Who knows how many he's had in his career. And you know what? Even Jake Evans was hit from behind, this time by Dumba, also in the numbers, and nothing there. Jake Evans, too, has had his history of concussions as well. Once again, we don't know what's going on with Guhle. All we do know is that, once again, just over 4 minutes into the hockey game, he's hit in the numbers. He goes to the locker room. He doesn't come back. It was a big night for the Tampa Bay Lightning, a big night for Nikita Kucherov, who had 3 points in this hockey game. Nick Paul had a couple of goals. And for the Montreal Canadiens, obviously, it was not their best night at the office. They go 0 for 4 on the power play. They had given up 4 straight goals to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And it was not Caden Primo's best night either. We'll get to it in just a couple of minutes. Not before I talk to you, of course, about our sponsors. Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. Driven to be different. Also brought to you in part by La TB, brewed in Quebec, a winner of a dozen international awards. La TB offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients. La TB, embrace your true nature. Also brought to you in part by Playground. Experience Playground like never before. Enjoy world-class poker, 900-plus gaming machines, and weekly events, karaoke, Mondays, comedy, Wednesdays, live bands on Fridays and Saturdays, and much more. Discover their latest editions, etc. Steakhouse, Drunken Dragons, Exquisite Sushi, the Esperanto Cigar Lounge, and Babel Lounge's Medzen Cocktails. Playground, your ultimate destination for entertainment just over the Mercier Bridge. Visit playground.ca for details. Without further ado, let's bring him in. Former NHL defenseman, does some work for TVA Sport, among others. Philippe Boucher, comment ça va?
Ça va très bien, merci, et toi?
You know what? Ça va très bien. Obviously, you don't want to see anyone get hurt. That's the down moment of the hockey game for me. But I have to tell you, other than that, I know it's a coach's nightmare because I know there's a lot of mistakes and I know there's a lot of miscues and I know that you get away from the game plan. But, you know, right now there's 7 games left in the Canadian season. Before tonight's game, there was 8. It's a team that's not making the playoffs. Give me goals, give me entertainment, and at least the fans that went to the Bell Center tonight, they can't complain about a shortage of that, right? They had everything in this hockey game.
Well, there's many ways to be positive of what Montreal is doing right now. The young players are playing better. Some of the veterans are playing better. They're buying in. Martin St. Louis is doing a good job with the team. The progression of everybody individually and as a team is going pretty well. And Tampa Bay is gearing up for the playoffs. It's not an easy team to play against. Like, I was one of those guys that said about maybe a month ago, well, maybe Tampa Bay might miss the playoff this year because they were struggling a little bit. They went through injuries, and Vasilevsky wasn't playing as well as he used to. And then, you know what? They're right in the mix of it. Nobody wants to play against them right now. So it was a tough task for Montreal to face tonight. That team is really deep. But like you said, the fans, when they go to the Bell Center, No, there's many things to cheer about, right? Slafkovsky's playing the best hockey he's played in the last 2 years, and obviously, and then Suzuki's playing well, and you don't want to see Guhle get hurt. But there's a lot to be positive about. And there's going to be a lot of, to me, there's going to be some pressure on the team this summer to not even just improve the team. I'm hoping they're going to sign some free agents, but sooner or later, the playoff talks are going to be talked about. Is this team going to be a playoff team next year? Is there going to be pressure for them to be in the playoff next year? I believe so. I hope so. And that's what the fans deserve, and that's what they should be looking forward to.
Phil, let's get straight to it right away. Yeah. The Kucherov hit on Guhle, what did you think?
Kucherov is not a dirty player. He doesn't hit that much. I think Guhle, you need to protect yourself. You shouldn't turn. I guess if it would have been a bigger boy, a tougher guy, a guy that's well known to be hitting, to finish his hits, I think he would have protected himself a little better. I don't think Guhle expected it. Got hit between the numbers. Let's just hope that at this time of the year, the Montreal Canadiens are being very cautious with their players, which they should be. And it's not a concussion, and it's not serious because it wasn't that big of a hit. Guhle could have done a better job to protect himself. I don't think it's worth a suspension like I think you think it is. Like I heard your opening there, you think it might be if he was a fourth line player. Maybe you're right, but I don't think the intention. To me, when you call for a suspension, is the result. Well, if he is injured and there's a concussion, the result is not good. But is the intention of the player? I think Kucherov just went in there to finish his hit, and unfortunately, it was between the numbers. And we'll know more tomorrow about or maybe tonight in the press conference of what happened. But I don't think it was a dirty play.
All right, so you don't think it was a penalty?
Well, it could have been at 2 minutes, but again, there was no in French an assault. There was no 2 or 3 steps before the hit. There was no intention to hurt the player. It wasn't a very hard hit or a dirty hit. It could have been a 2-minute penalty, but I'm okay with what happened on the ice. I'm just hoping that Guhle is going to be fine because I've had concussion problems. I still do have concussion problems, and I don't wish that on anyone. So let's hope he's healthy. But to me, it wasn't that bad of a play.
It wasn't official before tonight's game, but it's something that everyone expected. It is official now. The Montreal Canadiens are officially eliminated from a playoff spot. I mean, I think we saw it coming. But at the same time, you talked about progression.
Yep.
What did you like about tonight's game? Because I know there's some things that I liked about tonight's game. I'd like to hear from you, and then I'll tell you what I liked.
Well, Primo was okay in that. I think defensively the team did okay also. They're giving too many shots. Are you okay, bud?
Yeah, just I'm pretty hot. I think I'm going through Marinaro pause.
I've never seen that before on your show. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's out here too in Florida right now.
Yeah. Is that right?
But what I like is the first line. I saw Slafkovsky, Suzuki's playing well. Caufield scored a goal. What I don't like about that, though, about the first line and maybe some of the bad habits creeping in, those guys are out there for 2 minutes on the power play. They stay as long as they want on the ice. They don't have a backup plan. They don't have a plan B on the power play. That's a negative for me. But the real positive over the
Phil, pardon me, Phil, but Tampa tends to do the same thing. Well, they leave Kucherov, Braden Point, Nick Paul.
Yeah, they've won Stanley Cups before, and they've had. Well, what happened when you get a young player coming from college that wants to play on the point? Are you going to leave your defenseman 2 minutes on the power? I don't think it's a problem for now. Like Madison being out there for 2 minutes with the young players, but I think they're being told the right things. That right now we don't have the depth. I understand that you might not take shifts that long, but to stay with the positive, Joel Armia is really, really positive to me. Like he was sent a message. He's the only player in the organization. Him and Jack-Eye, right, that were sent messages that they were sent down. Jack-Eye is playing pretty well. I like his game again tonight. He's progressing too with Savard, and then Armia really responded well to what he was dealt with. And if I want to talk about Montreal being a playoff team, I I think the few people want to see that next year. Armia is going to have a big role to play on the third line with some of the young players. So, it's there's some positive. It wasn't the best game that Montreal's played this year, but there's still some positive out there.
Well, for me, a big positive is Juraj Slafkovsky. I mean, Armia goes without saying he scored 2 goals in this hockey game, but I think I want to put things in context here. Once again, Slafkovsky turned 20 years of age a couple of years ago. He's in his second year in the National Hockey League. He just has over, I think he's probably just over 100 games in the National Hockey League. And, when Slafkovsky was drafted, he was asked about who he thought would be the comparable, and he said Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen is a modern day power forward. He's not those power forwards of the 80s and the 90s like the Cam Neelys of this world or the Keith Kachuks of this world, but he's a modern day power forward that doesn't have to drop the gloves, doesn't have to deliver the thunderous hits, but he goes to the traffic areas. He does finish his checks. He is hard to move. He can take abuse. He once again, he's hard to knock off the puck. He plays a north-south game, and I got to tell you, I mean, he's looking more and more like a power forward all the time. Juraj Slafkovsky played, like you just mentioned, versus a lot of players that are Stanley Cup champions. And tonight, no intimidation whatsoever. I mean, this guy's a man.
I don't like to compare players, but it's a very good way to compare him to Rantanen. And Rantanen was, when my son went to Colorado's training camp, I got to see him. I think it was his first or second year. I didn't know much about him. And I was so impressed about how he played the game and the skills he had. He scored a couple goals from behind the net in scrimmages, and then we know where he is now. But to be honest, I think Slafkovsky could be better than Rantanen. I think Slafkovsky has the ability to make everyone around him better. And he's going to have to decide, and I just said I don't like comparison, but Joe Thornton was the kind of the same player. It took a little bit of time for him to evolve as a player, to grow into his body. And then once he went to San Jose, and I played against him many times, he went to San Jose. I think he had to make a decision because he had all the skills. He could score a lot of goals. He had a great shot. Slafkovsky can score goals. He has a great shot. But when he went to San Jose, they had a good team. They had some good players. They had Marleau. They had Pavelski. They had a bunch of players there. And he decided that he was going to be a playmaker. Right? For every goal, there's 2 assists, right? If you want to get a lot of points, if you move the puck around to good players, you can add a lot of points. I think Slafkovsky can be a complete player, can be a power forward for sure. But when we think about power forwards, it's up and down, finishing hits, going to the corners, scoring some goals. I think Slafkovsky could be one of the best passers in the league within a few years. He's moving the puck better. I like Suzuki. Like, we haven't talked about him tonight. Everything about Suzuki is positive. And the way he's playing, but he's playing a lot better. I always saw Suzuki to play with Caufield. That was the idea. And Doc was to play with Slafkovsky. That was the idea. But as soon as you put Suzuki and Slafkovsky together, funny things happen. Both of them got much better. They're producing a lot more offensively. And I think Slafkovsky can really move the puck well. That's why Suzuki's scoring a little bit more. And I can't wait on the power play to see him running it. I think it's going to happen in due times. I like to see the puck in Suzuki's hands, but I think Slafkovsky could improve that power play a lot. I think starting next year, we might see that, and the sky's the limit for him.
Well, could you imagine Slafkovsky in 3 or 4 years from now when he puts on even more muscle and he fully grows into his body? He starts picking up tricks from the trade. He starts picking up how to better position his body. He starts getting scouting reports on different players, different defensemen, different goalies in the National Hockey League. He starts to have a little bit more notoriety. He's going to be unbelievable.
He's well coached. He's coachable. He's got all the tools. Size matters. You look at Jack, he's playing a lot better. He's got size, and I'm not comparing the two, but Slafkovsky's got size. And then I think there's a lot of things he can do, and with times, I think he's going to be the best player Montreal's had in a long, long time.
All right, okay. I know you said it wasn't a dirty hit in your opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's a penalty for what it's worth. Okay, so we're going to respectfully disagree. I think he saw the numbers, and so for me, it's a penalty. Now, having said that, I don't have to tell you how important Guhle is to the Montreal Canadiens defense core and to the team. He's the defenseman that has the second most amount of minutes since the beginning of the year, possibly the second most amount of minutes now. If I take a look at even the last couple of years on average, most see him as a first pairing defenseman for the Canadiens for the next decade. Everyone talks about this team toughness thing, this sticking up for each other, this wolf pack mentality. You didn't see anybody go after Kucherov. You didn't see anybody go after, let's just say, Dumba for his hit on Evans, but let's just stick to Kucherov for now. Yeah. I mean, the Canadiens really didn't do anything from a physical standpoint. I know that Jack guy got into a little bit of a tussle, but I mean, Stamkos ends up running into Hagel. What did that say to you? Does that bother you?
Doesn't bother me because I think they saw it the same way I did. I don't think when it happened on the ice, when it happened on the ice, it wasn't that big of a deal. And he went to the bench, went to the room. You don't really know what happened, and then players probably found out what happened in between periods. So do you react later against Kucherov? Maybe if he, but I think when it happened, what you always got to look at hits like that. And when I was a GM in Major Junior, general manager, we had to go through suspensions and clips and all that, and you slow it down, you look from different angles. But then when you really want to know what happened, you look at the clip full speed. And when it happened full speed, it wasn't a very hit with a lot of force. It wasn't a dirty, to me again, not a dirty hit. And then the impact wasn't major. If it is a concussion, the result is going to be, it's not a good result that you want to see. But I think that's how the players saw it, because right now in the league, as soon as there's a dirty hit, you got a response. There was a major response yesterday in New Jersey and between the Rangers, and even when Dawson Mercer got into a fight, we had Dawson Mercer in Drummondville, and the sixth fight in that game was from a dirty hit. There was an immediate reaction. I'm not too worried about it. I think the Montreal Canadiens, they do have some toughness within the lineup. They've been reacting to those kind of hits in the past. They have the guys that can do it. I think they just saw it like me. It was just not a big factor in the game when it happened. But then when you look at the final result, if it's a concussion, it's an after the fact thing. So I'm not worried about the answer or the non-answer.
By the way, and I already see this coming, and I'm not obviously listening to anybody or watching anybody because we are live. We're on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live. I know the cool thing in Quebec right now is going to be to say that they're the Canadiens and the Lightning are miles apart, this, that, whatever, and all that stuff. They're in different leagues. And the Canadiens tonight, they showed you who they really are. Tampa Bay showed you who they really are. It's bullshit. Okay? Tampa Bay is still a very good team. They're not as good as they used to be, obviously. But Tampa Bay's playing for a playoff spot. The Canadiens are not. There's a much different motivation from the two sides. That's number one. Number two, Kirby Dach. I mean, you take Anthony Cirelli out of Tampa Bay's lineup for the entire season and get to game 74 or whatever it is and tell me that they're not going to, it hurts. Also, look, Guhle's out for the Canadiens, but Sergachev's out for Tampa Bay, so I understand that. But Guhle getting hurt put the Canadiens down to 5 defensemen for 55 minutes versus the Tampa Bay Lightning.
They showed us exactly what they are. There's a team that wants to contend for the Cup this year, and then Paul and a bunch of guys are playing really well, and they're getting geared up for that. They're being more physical, and you get a team like the Montreal Canadiens that they're not in the playoff pictures at all. So you get a team that wants to contend, and a team that will contend, according to me, within a few years. So it's not the 7-4 or whatever the end result was. It was a closer game than it appeared early in the game. Then it got out of hand. Primo could have been better. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but Primo could have been a lot better tonight. And then the Montreal Canadiens are going to be a team that's going to contend. So I think tonight, I don't see any of the GMs or the coaches being disappointed in their team. Montreal wish they would have played a little bit better at home. They wish they could have got a save. Obviously, they wish Guhle didn't get hurt. And then Tampa Bay, they got the 2 points. They're gearing up for the playoffs, and they're happy. So we saw what those teams really are: is a Stanley Cup contender and a team that's progressing really well, that needs to learn from everything that happens and make sure that they get better for the next game, but especially for next year.
All right. Okay. So once again, let's get to Yoel Armia now. Actually, why don't we do this? Let me bring up the starting lineup for both teams, and then we'll get to Armia in just a second. All right. Suzuki with Slafkovsky on his right and Caufield on his left. Newhook with Armia on his right and Gallagher on his left. Evans with Ylönen on his right and Anderson on his left. White with RHP on his right. Pezzetta on his left. Matheson, Guhle, Struble, Harris, Jack-Eye, Savard. Caden Primo obviously gets the start in goal. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, all right, point in between Kucherov and Duclair, Cirelli with Stamkos and Hagel, Paul with Shafee and Esimont, Glendening with Mott and Watson, Hedman, Radish, Dahan, Cernak, Lilleberg, Dumba, and Tompkins got the start in goal. Okay, Armia, let's talk about him now. It was on TVA Sports earlier today. They put together a little graphic for me. In the 9 games prior to this game tonight, Yoel Armia had more shots than any Montreal Canadiens player. Clearly, he's got a ton of confidence. You see it right now. It seems like every time he shoots the puck, it's going in. And Suzuki is obviously incredibly hot as well. It seems like it's the same thing for him as well. When he shoots the puck, it's going in. So, look, I don't think they're going to bring Yoel Armia back next year, because when a guy signs a 4-year contract extension and he just wakes up, with, 4 months, 3 months left in the season in what would be his second last year of his contract, it's probably not enough. But that size, that puck protection, that ability to kill penalties. And by the way, he's done an amazing job. Amazing job on the penalty kill, I find, when he's out there. You got to replace a player like this, Phil.
Well, I think he's going to come back. Why wouldn't he come back? Like, where is he going to go? Are they going to get a first-round pick for him? Are they going to get a prospect for him? Maybe the way he's playing right now, a team that's gearing up, let's say a Detroit of this world that wants to make the playoff next year.
Well, he'll be back. He'll be back next year, Phil. But you don't think they're going to end up trading? You think they're going to give him an extension?
And I'm not saying that, but I think next year, if you want to compete, and he's going to buy time for the younger players. But who in Laval is going to play next year in Montreal? Like, is there really any forwards there that are ready? Roy was in Montreal; he's ready for the NHL.
Yeah, no forwards in Laval.
But no. So to me, when you had the 2 lineups on the screen, both of those lineups are the same in a way that Tampa Bay's competing for the Stanley Cup this year. They're hoping to get another cup, but they're very top heavy, where the bottom 2 lines are not as strong as they were when they won the cup. And Montreal is really, really top heavy. There's no depth there. I don't want to grab the hold of anybody on the 3rd and 4th line, but there's a lot of guys that are lucky to be in the NHL right now that are playing for Montreal. So Yoel Armia, back to him, he's going to have a key role with the Montreal Canadiens next year if they want to compete. And they want to compete. Martin St. Louis didn't come here to just miss the playoff every year. He wants to have a chance to compete. I think he's going to have a big role next year. And then after that, it remains to be seen. But the thing with Yoel Armia, remember when he wasn't playing well? What we were saying? Oh, he has no emotion. He's flat. Heart. Did you see him after his second goal tonight? How did he look?
Yeah.
No emotion, flat, but he's playing a good game. So maybe Martin St. Louis, and we talk about Martin all the time, but the coaching staff, the supporting staff, the assistant coaches, maybe they got to him and they're telling him where to go. He goes to the dirty areas. He goes to the front of the net. What a beautiful goal his first one was, out of the air. And last game, he was right in front of the net. He's a big body. Maybe he's just – we think that a 21-year-old or a 20-year-old need to learn to play the game. I played a long time. I was a first-round pick. It didn't work out for me the first stage of my career. I missed a full year with foot injuries. And then I came back. I went to the minors. I had to relearn how to play the game, reinvent myself, and be more physical. And I was 27, 28. And then I became a very, very good – I'm saying that about myself. That's kind of weird. But I became an efficient NHL hockey player. I had a big role. I was playing 25, 26 minutes a night. I went to the All-Star game because there was still room to grow for me, room to learn when I was 26, 27, 28, 29, even 30 years old when I had my best year after when I was 30. So why not? Why can't that happen to Joel Armia? And as far as an extension, it's too early to say. Like he's what, he had 16 goals tonight, I believe, 15 and 16 tonight. Now, if he ends the year with a near 20 goals and he scores 25 next year, and he's happy in Montreal, and you can keep him in Montreal for a decent price, why not? Because in 2 years, when you want to win, you're going to need a player like that plays well every night, that's more consistent than he's been, but that as consistent as he's been over the last 2 months. You're going to need that if one day you want to win and advance in the playoffs.
Cuckoo K69 says, I'm starting to question Colin White's role on the team. You don't have to question him, my friend. He's a body to put in an NHL team to play out the season because there was no use keeping Gignac here. Gignac needed to go to Laval to give them help, to give them a push. And that's exactly why they did what they did, right? They picked up one on waivers, put the other one on waivers.
I did that.
For them, Gignac wasn't picked up, and he was able to help Laval.
I did that in Major Junior, right? I recycle a lot of, when I was GM and the coach, I recycle a lot of first-round picks because you want to give them a second chance. Well, for Colin White, it's more of a second chance. He has a link with the agent. The only problem I have with that, I understand why they went to get him. He has more experience in the NHL than the players in Laval. But Alex Barré-Boulet was available on the same day on waivers, and I wish Montreal would have got him. That's the only that they gave him a chance, but he doesn't have a role in Montreal. He doesn't have a future in Montreal. He's barely eating any minutes. He's not scoring. He's not doing much. And to me, the only beef I had, because Montreal wasn't scoring a lot of goals at the time. Roy was playing pretty well, but he didn't have secondary scoring, and I wish Barré-Boulet would have got a chance in his home province.
All right, okay. Let's talk about Cole Caufield. A lot of people look at him and they say, well, there's something wrong with his shot. Mm-hmm. Well, there was nothing wrong with his shot on that goal, right? Was there? Yeah. I mean, that was up and in, and that was, and you got to like it too. You got to like the way Suzuki on that particular shift, Caufield could have had 3 goals, I think, and he was looking for Caufield all the time. Everyone knows he's looking for him, and he was able to find him all the time. And so I like the fact that Cole Caufield, 20 minutes and 40 seconds, 1 goal in tonight's hockey game, +2, 7 shots. He had 11 or 12 shots, directed towards the net. 7 of them were actually on goal. I think that even though his shooting percentage is down, if Cole just keeps getting into that consistency of shooting the puck, eventually it's going to go. And scorers better than I do, Phil. Once they start scoring, it just seems like sometimes even when they fan on their shots, they go in.
All you want for him is to end the year on a good note. He's got the pressure to score goals. He knows that, and he hasn't worked out. Is it the shoulder injury I've had shoulder problems. Honestly, I was a goal scorer from the back end for a few years in Dallas, and when I hurt my shoulder, my shot wasn't as effective. Obviously, I was shooting more from the blue line. I would never get in front of the net, and there was not too many other ways for me to score goals than from the blue line. But after a shoulder surgery, it's not that easy to recover from that when you rely on your shot. And were we expecting him to be an Ovechkin? There's only one Ovechkin on the one-timer on the power play, or maybe 2. Stamkos is not too far, which had a couple goals tonight. But only a few guys can score from 40 feet out. And then for Caufield, he just needs to get closer to the net. And I still don't buy when Martin Saint-Louis, and I think he's just covering for Caufield. When he's saying, we don't worry about him not scoring goals. We want him to learn how to play defense. No. You want him to get to the dirty areas. You want him to get to the front of that. You want him to score in tip-ins. You want him to score in rebounds. You want him to score 10 feet from the net. And I think that's what they're teaching him, and that's what's kind of starting to work for him. Most of the goals he scored this year were a lot closer to the net. And when everything is clicking off, when the power play is going to be better, when he's going to play with better players, you're going to see him use his one-timer again. But it's, to me, I still want to be positive. I think for him, it's going to be a learning season. It might be the worst season. I can't say offensively because he's got a lot of assists. He's got a lot of points. But I think if he plays the next 12 years for the Montreal Canadiens, this might be the year he has the least amount of goals because he's going to play with better players as the year goes along. He's not going to play 2 minutes on the power play because I wish a guy like Marchessault would come in next year with the Montreal Canadiens and challenge him for ice time on the first power play, whoever can come in the next 2 or 3 years to challenge him a little bit, but it's only going to make him better. And to me, I'm not too worried about him. Those guys are so young. We give them so much money so young with the pressure and the living in Montreal and all that. And the one thing that's the one thing I missed on Slafkovsky earlier. The one thing I love about Slafkovsky, Montreal does not seem to bother him. He's having fun. He's having fun with the media.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel the pressure. He knows what it means to be a first overall pick. He wants to work. He wants to do everything right for the team. And that's off to him because Montreal is not an easy market. And I think it's the same thing for Caufield. It's not easy to adjust all that pressure, be on the number one line, and have to score goals. So I'm not too worried about it.
He's a team guy. Slav is a team guy. You're seeing he's a big time team guy. You know, you said you like to see somebody challenge Slafkovsky for that power play time and be that scorer on the power play. Pierre Maguire and Craig Button over the past couple of nights right here on the Sick Podcast both say that if Cole Yzerman is available at the draft when the Canadiens are picking, that's the guy the Montreal Canadiens should pick because he scores as good or better than anyone in the draft. They believe he's the best natural scorer that there is, and they believe the Canadiens need a player like that. I'm going to tell you this. You know what? TJ Guhle, I'm a big fan based on what I've seen now. I'm going to tell you this. Craig Button and Pierre Maguire watch these kids a lot more than I do, right? So they go live. They go to the arenas. I don't. But based on what I see through highlights and based on some of the people I talk with, I think Guhle would be just what the doctor ordered. Having said that, the draft goes in the third week of June. We're not there yet. We're in the first week of April. It's April 4th. So let's talk about some other things here that we need to talk about. Okay. I know the easy target is Josh Anderson, and I'm going to get to him in a second because I've been talking about him now for months and months and months, and I'm starting to get tired of it. Okay. So I'm going to tell you something that's going to hurt, but I'm going to say it. I'm not sure Harvey Pinard's an NHLer.
That hurts. I like the guy. I like him.
I love him. I love him because he gives you everything he has. And but it's look. Last year he was. This year he's not. Last year he was hot. This year's a bad season. Put it this way. Let me rephrase. This year's Harvey Pinard is not an NHLer. To say that, you know,
I'm going to be careful what I say because I like him a lot, and I like to see people. I'll call it the Q again, right? They just changed the name this year, but from the Quebec Major Maritime, whatever. In French, I can say it. In English, a little bit harder. Whenever those guys go to the graduate to the NHL, we're really proud of it. I was with the Q for a long time, and so I'm proud that he's with an NHL team. And you know, he played with my son at Bob Bissonnette's tournament in Quebec, and so I know him pretty well. Last year, he was fortunate to play on a team that was missing the playoffs, that sent everybody to the doctor's office, and they take your time, don't come back, get surgery now. And they gave ice time to players that were not maybe NHL players. And he made the most of it, and he earned his contract. And when everybody was saying that, oh, you should get a chance on the first line or the second line, I always said the same thing. I don't think he's ready for that. I don't think he should play there. But if you have Harvey Pinard as your left winger on the fourth line or as your extra player, you have a good organization because he's a good person. He works hard. He means well. He wants to do everything. But to me, I think if you have a good team, that's what he's going to be. And when somebody's injured, he might be able to move up to the third line, to the power play here and there, not like last year. So I don't disagree with you. I don't want to be as harsh as you are, but it's going to be a challenging season for him next year. If Armia stays, if Anderson stays, which I wish he would go, if they don't buy out Gallagher, if they sign a free agent, it's going to be hard for him to stay in the NHL. But that being said, as the extra forward, you're never going to go wrong. It's up to him to prove that he's more than that next year.
I'm cheering for him, Phil. Phil, I'm cheering for him. I mean, I love a lot about the guy. I think he's got character off the charts. I'm just wondering,
injuries might be adding up. Honestly,
he could be an impactful player in Laval. Yeah, he could be an impactful player in Laval. And here, okay.
We all know that. We all know. We don't want to see him. Well, I don't want to see him in Laval. I want to see him succeed in the NHL. The thing is, okay, when you ask, if it doesn't work out in Montreal, where is he going to go? It's probably Laval. It's probably not a trade to Chicago or to LA but he's got time. I think he's slowed down with injuries. I think with a good summer, it's going to be up to him to grab a chair, like Martin said. Next training camp, he's going to have to grab a hold of a chair.
Let's say he's a fourth liner, okay?
Yeah.
Is he the biggest guy? No. Is he the strongest guy? No. Does he hit like a truck? No. Is he very aggressive on the forecheck and can skate? Yes. No. Okay? So he can forecheck, I think. That's not a problem. But the other things, like, is he the prototypical fourth liner?
No, because I think when Montreal is going to have a good team, I love Jake Evans. I think he can be a third line center, but ideally, if you want to win, he's going to be your fourth line center that can move up to any lines and kill penalties on the first unit. So if you do have a smaller center on the fourth line, it's hard to have a small left when you're there. But okay, when I said Montreal is top heavy, he's top heavy with the first line, then a couple of veterans can stay. But if you look, is Pizzetta an NHL player? You talked about Colin White, so there's going to be a battle between some of those guys to be the depth guys, and I think when you have a dogfight between 3 or 4 guys to stay in the NHL and be on a fourth line or the extra guy, I think RV Pinard can win it.
So look, we have so much time to talk about next year, but very, very quickly though, I mean, Jake Evans. A lot of people in the chat are talking about Jake Evans, saying Jake Evans could be a fourth line guy, and Jake Evans has done really well with the opportunity, but once again, he's doing what RV Pinard did. A lot of players out of the lineup at the same time. You're given a lot of opportunities. There's not a lot of pressure because you're not making the playoffs. No one's expecting you to win. Jake Evans is a good player. He also really took advantage of an opportunity the way RHP did 1 year ago. Doc hurt from period 4 of the season. Period 4, game number 2. Newhook out for over 2.5 months. Dvorak out for I don't know how many months now. Sean Monahan traded 2 months ago. I mean, this is what it is. So he's taking advantage of an opportunity. But if everyone is there and healthy next year, Suzuki centers your first line, Doc centers your second line, Christian Dvorak centers your third line. Don't forget, he's going to be in the final year of his contract. You're going to have to try and up his value a little bit if you want to move.
What's his injury, by the way? Do we know? We forgot about. I almost forgot. I don't really know, but he has been practicing, and they say that his return is imminent. Jake Evans to center the fourth line. By the time they get to the deadline, if they trade Dvorak, then Evans moves up to your third line center. Maybe Owen Beck comes in as your fourth line center at that point. We'll wait and see. We'll see what happens. I keep Jake Evans no matter what. Honestly, I keep him on the third or fourth line. I want him. I said that on your podcast before. I know I do GC.
Yeah.
I included Ilonen for a while, but I've kind of given up on him. But I said at a certain point, the more Evans and Ilonen, the better Montreal is. That was about 3 months ago. The more Jake Evans, the better Montreal Canadiens are, and I think he's proven it. Like if you let Armia go and you let Evans go, who's going to kill penalties next year? Suzuki by himself? You need penalty killers. We always talk about the power play, but the PK is just as important. So I think Jake Evans is going to be a fixture. He's not untouchable. I would never say that, but if he's willing to accept the role. The worst case scenario be the fourth line center and at a decent salary. I think you keep him around for a long time.
I'm going to keep Phil Boucher for probably another 5 or 6 minutes, and then I'm going to make him enjoy the rest of his night in Florida. I feel like taking some phone calls tonight, so I'm going to give you the number right now at 1-888-585-SICK, 1-888-585-7425. I will take some phone calls tonight. So if you're ready, just jump on a line in a couple of minutes when I open up the phone lines. Caden Primo, bad night at the office for him. There was one shot that was off the mark, and it's a couple of times I've seen this happen to him, unfortunately, that he tries to save a shot that's not even hitting the net, and then he ends up redirecting into his goal. It's too bad.
But is he ready to play against like Tampa Bay? They're creeping into the playoffs, and they're going to be a playoff team, but they're going to be a Stanley Cup contender. Was he ready to play at home against Stamkos and Kucherov? It might be a little bit much to ask for him now, and I think it's understandable. Like I don't. Ideally, he's your backup, right? And he's your backup now. Ideally, he's your backup for the next 2 or 3 years, and you're in business if he's your backup. Tonight might have been a little bit too much to ask for him.
I think it was
Guhle being out, and then the firepower that they have, and Montreal's playing a little bit better defensively, but they still do give up a lot of shots.
I think that was the goal. I think that was the Hagel goal, by the way, which had given the Tampa Bay Lightning a 5-2 lead with what was it? Late in period number 2.
Couple deceiving shots. Paul was a deceiving shot too. So.
Yeah, Paul was. There was a couple. One was off of a Braden Point shot and saved by Primo. Rebound on the power play. Paul scores his first. His second goal for Nick Paul is I think it's RV Pinard that actually coughs it up, and Esimont picks it up and gives it to Paul, who spins and turns in the slot with a real great wrist shot that goes like up and over Primo and under the bar. I think Primo was down on his knees a little bit too early for that one. But nevertheless, and once again, it was the Nikita Kucherov show tonight in Montreal after Kucherov picked up 3 points in a winning effort last night in Toronto. He picks up another 3 points tonight to give himself a pretty nice lead on Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid for the points lead in the National Hockey League. All right,
he might be the MVP this year. To be honest, we don't. He hurt himself at the All-Star game, and we don't like him in Montreal that much, but he might be the MVP this year.
Another thing I noticed, by the way, Tampa Bay's penalty kill gave the Canadiens some problems. They were so aggressive on the PK, and when teams are aggressive like that on the PK, you obviously have to move the puck a lot faster, and it just seemed like the puck wasn't moving faster for the Canadiens tonight.
Well, it's the role players are in place, right? You get your point getters and the Kucherov and the Stamkos and all that, but they went out and made some trades. They paid a lot of money for Paul and a couple of Hagel and all those guys, but there's a reason for that. When you want to win, you need the people to be in the right chairs and they're in the right roles. And Paul is producing a little bit more offensively than he expected, but on the PK, they're a very, very good team.
Phil Boucher, thank you so much for joining me tonight in the Sick Podcast. I know all the viewers and everyone listening very much appreciates it. Merci beaucoup. Bonne soirée à toi.
Talk again soon, buddy. Bye.
All right, there you have it. The Accent Insurance Solutions moment of the game. For me, the moment of the game was very unfortunately, well, I'll tell you what it is right after this.
Accent Insurance moment of the game.
For me, the moment of the game, I think it's a big turning point, is Nikita Kucherov's hit on Caden Guhle. Guhle had played, he had played about 1:14 into the hockey game. It was just over 4 minutes into the hockey game. And Kucherov sees the numbers. He hits Guhle. Phil Boucher and I will disagree. He didn't think it was a penalty. I thought it was a penalty. I'm pretty upset that no one went to Caden Goule's defense. It was just a couple of days ago that Caden Guhle was saying, hey, I don't want anyone going after Uri Slafkovsky, the youngest player on our team, number 1 pick overall. Well, you know what? I don't want anyone going after Caden Guhle. Phil says, well, the players probably thought it wasn't a dirty hit, and that's why they didn't do anything, and I can't wait to hear from you. But for me, that's a big turning point of the hockey game. You're going up against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're like sharks. They can smell blood right now. They won in Toronto last night. They're making a push for the playoffs. The Canadiens are not. There's 8 games left in the season going into tonight's game. You're going up against a really good team that always seems to have success against the Montreal Canadiens. And now you've lost Caden Guhle. He goes to the locker room. He doesn't come back. By the way, in case you missed it, there's no update on Caden Guhle just yet. His situation is going to be updated over the next couple of days. But we do know it's an upper body injury per the Montreal Canadiens. They lose Caden Guhle. They got to play 55 minutes of the hockey game down to 5D. Consequently, Jordan Harris ended up playing 24 minutes and 14 seconds in tonight's hockey game. He ends up being a -2 in the night. It was a little bit too much for him against such a really good team and such really good players. For me, that's your Accent Insurance Solutions turning point and moment of the game. And now it's You Called.
You called. Presented by Playground.
Presented by Playground. It's now that time, folks. Get off the phone with your girlfriend. Stop talking to your wife right now. Forget about everything that you're doing and pick up the phone and give me a call at 1-888-585-7425. Good teams that go far in the playoffs, they have this wolf pack mentality. It's part of their culture. It's part of their DNA. They defend their teammates. Everyone on the team is a brother, and you go after him, well, it's going to be a long night for you because we're going to go after your players. I'm not one to preach violence here, far from it, but I think you got to do something to defend Guhle. I think, you know what? The Tampa Bay Lightning, they can't get away with that. Nikita Kucherov, he can't get away with it. You got to send some kind of a statement. And I don't think the Canadiens did. And I think in that respect, they failed the test tonight. We're going to get to your phone calls. I want to know what you think. Now, once again, the Canadiens aren't going to the playoffs. But if this is the culture that they want to have when they're going to become a playoff team, you don't start in 3 or 4 years. It starts now. Where are we going? 1-888-585-7425. I'm Montreal Sports Authority. I'm Marinaro. This is your post-game show. Let's go. Give me your calls. I'll take them not only in Montreal, not only in the province of Quebec, not only in the beautiful country that is Canada, all over North America, all over the world. Get off. You know, it's fun for you to chat, and I appreciate all the chats, and I'll get to some of your questions later. But for now, every time you're on the chat, Tony, are you taking calls tonight? No, I'm not taking them. Oh, I was going to call in. Now I'm telling you, I'm going to take the calls. And if there's no calls that come in, I'm not taking any more calls. That's it. Doesn't matter how much I get paid. Doesn't matter what the partnership agreement is, the sponsorship agreement, this, that, whatever. If I don't get calls, I'm not taking them anymore. That's it. That's all. Here's your chance. If you're not going to call me after the Canadiens give up 7, after Kucherov hits Guhle, after Dumba hits Evans, after the Canadiens go 0-4 on the power play, after Caden Primo looked average or even below average tonight, after Slafkovsky looked like a real horse, after Yoel Armia has been rejuvenated in the last 10, 15, 20 games, been unbelievable. If you're not calling tonight, then Houston, we got a problem. Agnello Sammy and Master Control, where are we going exactly? 1-888-585-7425. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I don't even see the calls popping up anymore. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, hi. Who's this?
Hi. This is James from Ottawa. How are you?
Very good, James. What's going on?
Not much, Tony. Just I know you like to see the result. You know, we get a better draft pick and all that. That's you know, I'm kind of on that team as well. It was nice to see the Habs finish strong there, but I know it's not your favorite topic at the moment, but man, Josh Anderson, I've never. I used to be with Armia, but now I've never seen a more frustrating hockey player in my life.
James, what are we going to say that we haven't said about Josh Anderson yet? He's taken the whole season off with the exception of games that I can count on one hand. He should be embarrassed when he looks in the mirror because even guys like Yoel Armia are like just putting him to shame with his 16 goals or whatever it is. And Anderson should be looking at Armia's 16 goals and saying, holy sec, well, what's going on here? How does he have 16 goals and I don't have 16 goals? That's what he should be asking, you know? And tonight, by the way, the game is one hit for Anderson.
To be anything because he's brain dead. Like he has zero hockey sense. Every time he gets into the zone, like it's either a dump in or he tries to go to the backhand and do something. It's like it's always the wrong play every single time. Like I swear to God, I've never seen a hockey player with less hockey sense than Josh Anderson. I don't know how he finagled the contract he got. Well, Bergevin, that's a whole other story. But anyway, I just need to get that out on the air. It's so frustrating. There's a guy in your comments that are saying, "Oh, Anderson, he just needs better line mates. He needs better." Well, he was playing with Suzuki for
Forget about that. Forget about that. He doesn't need better line mates. You need to look in life. You need to look at yourself in the mirror, right? You can't always rely on people to do it for you, right? I don't rely on people to do my job. I do my job. I do it my way. It's all in preparation, right? If you prepare well, you're going to perform well. That's what life is. In everything you do,
Absolutely.
in any job, with every responsibility, even on your honeymoon, if you prepare well, you're going to perform well. If you don't prepare well, you're not going to perform well. If you don't practice...
You need black pepper and ashwagandha too, right, Tony?
Pardon me?
You need the black pepper and ashwagandha too, right, to prepare on the honeymoon?
Black pepper, ashwagandha, tribulus, Korean ginseng, and a little bit of Sicilian blood.
Right.
By the way, I have a couple of other
right.
secrets, but I'm not giving you those. It's all about the passion. Do you understand? Some people have it, some people don't. I have it. That's why I can go live on YouTube.
To prepare.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the brain to prepare. Like, prepare all you want. Like, you put Gallagher in Anderson's body, he's an all-star. Like, it's a joke. It's a real joke. They should send him to Laval, help them make the playoffs.
You know what? If they send him to Laval, he's going to hurt their chance to make the playoffs. I don't want to talk about him anymore. I got to go. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it. Bye,
You're
James.
welcome.
Where else are we going exactly? Where else are we going? And Yellow and Sammy, bring it tonight, because you know what? Even though I got to go to the bathroom, and yeah, but you know, it's okay. I'm staying here. I'm gonna take this one for the team. Where are we going exactly? 1-888-585-7425. Stefan from Quebec City has asked for the link. Cuckoo.
For Stefan.
Hello, who's this?
I'm not Stefan.
No, is this Cuckoo?
This is Kukuk69.
Yes, I know that. I didn't say you were Stefan. I said Stefan has asked for the link. I did not say you were Stefan. I actually said we're going to Cuckoo.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I'm talking to Agnello. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. And don't talk to Agnello,
Okay,
right?
sorry,
This is my show.
delay.
Agnello's in the back right now. He's picking up phone lines. That's it. That's all. Yeah. I'm in one of those moods tonight. What's going on? You still talking to me, or are you talking to Agnello? What are you talking to Agnello about exactly? But is it me, or every time I'm talking, he's talking over me? Hello, are you there?
There's an interruption in the line here. You're really
Oh, who's
choppy.
interrupting?
Sorry.
Who's it? I'm choppy? You called me and I'm choppy? Do you hear me?
You're chopping in and out. Sorry, Tony.
Okay, well then
I don't know what's going on.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. Now, Agnello,
Sorry, brother, another time.
now, Agnello, can you get a better phone line, please? Get a better phone line. What's going on here? I give out the number and the guy's telling me it's choppy. Hello, who's this?
Tony.
Sam, are you there?
Sam from Kenya. Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, but I need to hear you a little bit more clearly. Okay, I hear you now.
Give me a second.
Is the line choppy?
No, super clear.
Super clear. Okay, you're going to need to speak up a little bit. I need you to be able to resonate a little bit more here.
Give me a second.
Yeah, very important. Take all the time that you want. Yeah.
Okay, this good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very good.
You hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Couple things to say. The guy that I phoned in earlier, he says,
Yeah.
I don't know about it. Phil Boucher, you said?
Yeah, well, he didn't phone in. He was our guest tonight, by the way. He was not a caller.
Right.
He was our guest.
He's your guest. It was embarrassing and cowardly, the answer he gave, because regardless of Kucherov's intent, you got to be responsible and accountable of what you do, just like with your stick when it's a high stick or anything like that. So if Kucherov hits him in the numbers, he still has to get that penalty. And when you asked him at the end, he said, "Oh, it could be a penalty, it could not. I was okay with it." I found that was really embarrassing as an answer. I was really pissed off after that hit, and I think you were too. So I resonate with that very much. And second thing is the players have been really reacting and protecting each other in the last stretch of 10 games, and nobody did anything tonight. And I would hate for this to be the case, but the only thing that crosses my mind is it in the player's head because they're playing Tampa and Marty, and he respects Kucherov as an artist out there?
Nah. It's got nothing to do with it.
I would hate it for that, but I can't. How do you explain it?
You think the players didn't hit anybody because Marty used to play for the Tampa Bay Lightning and Kucherov's an artist, Mimi, Coco, Pipi, Papa, and all that stuff? No way.
No.
It's got nothing to do with it.
Not necessarily the not hitting. That I was disappointed. It was really, they were very passive out there for the second period while I was discussing in the beginning of the third. But no, just the fact that nobody tried to initiate a fight or between the whistles or scrums in front of the net, it just felt dead. And we haven't seen that from them in the last 8 to 10 games. I think you would agree. And it's just mind-boggling that nobody did anything. It's very unlike them from the identity that they're trying to form in the last stretch of a couple of weeks. It's completely against that. So what is it? I mean, it might just be a stinker. They've been on a really good stretch. They've been overperforming. But honestly, I told myself when it was 6-2, if they can make it 6-4, I'll be happy. And they almost.
But let me ask you. Let me ask you something. If it wasn't Guhle tonight of the Montreal Canadiens who got hit, and it was Charlie McAvoy of the Boston Bruins, even without having a Chara like they used to, even without having a Sean Thornton the way they used to, even without having any of these guys in the lineup, do you think the Boston Bruins would let it end there? Do you think? And I'm, by the way, once again, I'm not preaching violence here. I don't want the Montreal Canadiens to be a goon team, because when teams are goon teams and all that stuff, I find they lack class. I want the Canadiens to stay classy. But at the same time, you cannot tell me that Guhle, you came to Slafkovsky's defense because you know what? You don't want anyone picking on him, and then no one comes to your defense. Come on.
I know, it was embarrassing. And you know what it made me think of? That Philly game where once we had that 3-goal lead, they had that 3-goal lead. You could, you just knew something was going to happen, and then it was Hathaway and with Cernak, and that's their DNA. But Sam built that sort of, and it was completely absent tonight. It was unexcusable. Like, it just I don't know what they were thinking. Were they intimidated? Were they tired? I have no clue.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying about the image of the player being Kucherov being the hit and not a fourth liner. The fourth liner would have gotten a max penalty. Or a minimum 2-minute penalty at least, but double standards and images, and it's just disappointing. And you would wish that we would crack down on that.
I got good news and bad news. Okay, you ready?
Go
My
ahead.
good news is that you're the best call so far tonight. Okay. The bad news is the other two calls that I took before that, they were not very good. One guy couldn't hear me, and the other guy was talking about Josh Anderson, and it was an old record just playing over and over and over and over again. But so far, you are the best call of the night. I wish I can go into my fridge, get you a Labetta TV, and just throw it to you right now. Pardon me?
Sure, I appreciate it. This is my first call ever on live radio. This is my first call.
This is not radio, by the way. Radio's on life support. This is the sick podcast.
I'm thinking I'm on 690 because I used to always listen to your show on 690.
That's right. That's it. Let's give them a plug. Why don't we? Let's get them a plug. Yeah. Okay. No problem. All right. Okay. But I thank you for having listened to my show once upon a time. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate you too, Tony.
You still listen to a radio, or you still listen to a radio, or?
I listen to 91.9 La Rac and
oh yes, I like that show very much. That show I like very much. Yes. I particularly like the 12:45 p.m. segment on weekdays. Very good.
690 has taken a toll though. The quality has gone down a lot. It's very diluted. Just my opinion.
No comment. We'll talk to you soon. All the best. All right. Okay. Let's go. Where are we going here exactly? 1-888-585-7425. 1-888-585-7425. We'll go to Joe.
Hey.
What's going on, Joe?
Hey, Tony. How's it going?
I'm doing extremely well.
I met you last week at the Rocket game. I took a picture with my daughter.
I actually recognize the voice right now. Yes. Very nice to meet you. Yeah.
We're talking about Jake.
Yes, of course. Yes, I
agree with you totally. If I was Jack-Eye tonight, I would have ripped the Kucherov's head off.
You know what the problem is? Jack-Eye, they probably slapped Jack-Eye's hands so many times for saying, you know what, it's not the Montreal Canadiens way. You can't take penalties. You can't take this. You can't take that. Had they not, I bet you would have done something. I think he was probably nervous to try.
No, someone had to go after him. Every single game Kucherov plays against us, he does something. Someone has to do something. They have to go after him. I don't know why they always ignore him. Go after the star. You hit one of our stars, you go after their best player. That's the way it works in hockey. You know, like, I'm fed up, man. Our small players are always getting hit, and no one's doing anything about it. Go after their best players, and that's it. We go one for one.
This is the culture that you're supposed to have.
You know,
It's wolf pack mentality. That's what it is. You hear what Pierre Maguire said over the past couple of days when I said, Pierre, how do you protect your young players if sometimes you don't have all those players that can take care of business? He says it's easy. He says if somebody goes after Slafkovsky or somebody goes after a Guhle, you go up to their player and you say, one of their players, one of their star players, and you say, by the way, you tell your teammate that to stop hitting that guy, because if you don't, I'm coming after you. Or
I heard that. I was watching the podcast. I heard Maguire say that. You go speak it to their player and say, I'm going to go after your best player. Leave our players alone. But anyways, it's okay. We lost. It's better for our draft pick. But but still, man, the abuse has to stop.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They're going to make this team bigger. Listen, if you know they have to make this team bigger and stronger and with a little bit more sandpaper, if you know it and I know it and everyone on the chat knows it, they know it too. They know it too.
Yeah. They have to go after Guhle. You know,
I'd love for them to be able to draft that kid.
But I'd go after Guhle.
Do you know that they had the opportunity to draft Jerome Guhle back in the day, who went 11th in the draft, selected by Dallas? The Canadiens had the 8th pick that year. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
You know who they drafted?
No, I don't know who they drafted that year.
Terry Ryan.
Oh, Terry Ryan. Did he ever play a game with us? I don't even think he played a game.
He played games in the National Hockey League on less than 2 hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they go after Guhle. I really hope they go after Guhle.
He was a 50-goal scorer in junior hockey, Terry Ryan was, He was a 50-goal scorer in junior hockey.
Yeah, but sometimes
unfortunately,
hockey is not the NHL, huh?
No, he played 8 NHL games. 8 NHL games.
Oh,
and that was it.
And another mistake they did was with KK. They should have taken Tkachuk.
He was a healthy scratch tonight, by the way. Jesperi Kotkaniemi was a healthy scratch.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not happy when people don't do well in life. Yeah, I'm not happy when people don't do well in life. I want everyone to do well. I just want to be able to do as best as I can. But I want everyone to do well. I don't get happy when people don't do well, right? Except for the Boston Bruins. When they were in the final with St. Louis, I wanted them to lose Game 7, and they lost. That's why next day I went in, I started playing Gloria, Gloria, I started singing all that stuff. Like the Bruins winning the Cup in 2011 was one of the worst days of my life. It was not as bad as when my grandfather passed away, but let me tell you, it was there. It's on the top 3 worst days of my life was the Boston Bruins winning the Stanley Cup in 2011.
No, but Tony, you're amazing,
man. The Bruins win in my lifetime.
Tony, I like you because you say it the way it is. You don't beat around the bush.
I appreciate you saying that, and that's the reason why a lot of people don't like me, because I say it the way I am who I am. I say what I think, I say what I feel, and that's the way it's going to be. You like it, you like it. You don't like it, you don't like it. But you know what, though?
Believe me, there's a lot of people that like you.
But even people that don't like what I say, they listen. I'd rather everyone like me that's going to listen and going to watch. But at the end of the day, the number one goal is I just want them to listen and watch. If they like me, it's a bonus. Makes me feel good about myself.
Tony, my sister-in-law, when it's supper time, she tells my brother, put on jig at 5:30. Tony Marinaro's on. We got to see Marinaro every night. She goes, we have to see Marinaro.
Wow, even the sister-in-law. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. What's your sister-in-law's name?
Her name is Mary.
Mary.
Yeah.
Mary, thank you for watching me on television. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I got stopped last week. I went to the Laval Rocket game. And, of course, We met there, right? We were talking, and
we met there.
I got,
Everybody
yeah,
was
of course,
coming up
yes.
to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I love being out there in the public, and hopefully next year we can do more of it. And somebody came up to me and he said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Why did you go from one television station to another?" And I said, "You want to know?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, because every time we appear on television, we get paid, right? We're working. We appear, one appearance, you get paid a certain amount, right?" Well,
Sure.
As much as I liked working for that other television station, the last couple of years, I was getting 12, 13, 14 appearances per year. Came along another television station, TVA Sport, and they offered me 150 appearances per year on a multi-year deal.
Beautiful.
Oh, who would say no?
No. For sure. You take it.
Only somebody who's stupid would say no. And you know what? I'm a lot of things. I'm not stupid. Appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much.
All right, Tony, you take care of yourself.
Yeah. To another television station, you should have offered me more because I was worth it. I'm really good at what I do, but that's okay. I don't hold it against you. Where are we going exactly? In life, we all make decisions. I worked at a radio station. I went to see them. I told them I'm going to do a podcast. They weren't crazy about it. I told them, I said, "You know what? I don't mind. You can take your logo. You can take your banner. You can put it on my podcast. We can work together. I can take the interviews from the radio station. I can put them on the podcast, this, that, whatever. I'll do all of that stuff." They said no, because they thought that they were big and I was a little mosquito. I was an ant. I was nothing. So they were, no way. They wanted no part of that. Nowadays, if they go live and I go live, I'll pick them apart. Let's go. Where are we going? That's the way it is. And, in hockey, you have scouts. The scouts have to be able to identify talent. They have to know who the 50-goal scorer is. Some people, you score the 50 goals in front of them, and they can't see. Well, to see, you have to want to open your eyes. If you choose to close them, you're not going to see. Where are we going exactly? Man, I'm really going tonight, eh? I'm really going. Agnello probably is freaking out right now. I said, "What is it?" Agnello, you know what? If people want to know, I'll tell them. Or maybe I shouldn't give all the information right now, because one day I could write a book. We could do a movie, whatever. That's it. That's it. Man, do I have stories. Mamma mia, the stories I have. But anyway, it is what it is. Different strokes for different folks. Okay, where are we going exactly? We're going to Phil. Phil, are you there?
Hey, Tony, is this the one and only?
It is.
It is. Do you hear me right?
I hear you fantastic, yes.
Oh, that's great. It's the first time I'm calling you, Tony. I'm really glad to talk to you again. I wanted to
Est-ce que c'est Phil Quentin? Est-ce que c'est Phil Quentin?
Yes, exactly.
OK, Phil, je te vois au moment qu'on se parle. Tu étais sur le YouTube en direct et tu m'as dit, "Tony, je suis en attente. Tony, I'm on hold. Si j'appelle, est-ce que tu vas prendre mon appel? If I call, will you take my call?" And I said, "Bien sûr, Phil, je vais prendre ton appel avec plaisir. For sure, I'll take your call with pleasure." And here you are, you're calling, and I'll take it. Thank you for calling. Merci de m'appeler, mon ami. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Well, I'm not here to talk to you about the game or the season. Everybody knows this season is going to the trash and nobody cares, right? So I want to talk to you about team building philosophy, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, basically, if you agree with me, there's 3 ways to build a team, right? Free agent, draft, trades.
Free agents, draft, trades. And if you want to do it really good, you put together an incredible player development department. So this way, they help all those players that you have within your organization, especially the ones that you drafted. Because, if I can add, when Trevor Timmons was the Montreal Canadiens director of scouting for almost 20 years, they had some good picks, they had some bad picks, they had some not so good picks, and they had some not so bad picks. But they never had the player development department to go along with it. So some of those players that did not work out, who knows if it would have worked out if they would have been able to develop them properly. That was one thing that really let the Canadiens down. But yes, continue. You're right. That's the 3 ways you can build a team. Go ahead.
So can we agree that historically free agents don't come to Montreal, so we can scratch that?
It's going to be hard, and not now. The Canadiens aren't in the. They're not going to be in the market for a free agent this season after they will have missed the playoffs again this year. They were officially eliminated, by the way, tonight for those who missed it. So, but you know what? I can see. Call me naive, because I know that it's not the easiest place to attract free agents. I know that the weather is not great. I know that some people don't like the media. I know that there's media pressure. I know that you can't do too much fishing here or golf, especially not in the months of November, December, January, February, and March. And I know that the taxes are high. And I know that there's a few language policies that not everyone might be on board with. But call me naive. I think in a couple of years from now, the Canadiens are going to go on the free agent market, and they're going to end up nabbing a big fish.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not so sure about that, Tony, but let's not argue on that. Let's go to the second option now. Draft, right?
Yeah.
Historically, the Canadiens have been like middle of the pack drafting and not very good. But maybe we're trying that right now, and we will see. Slafkovsky's doing great. I think things are going better. And there's also trades, which you look at last couple of years, we've been like pretty good at trades, right? So I'm wondering, why are we not doing more trades and maybe trading those draft picks? And also offer sheet, Tony, offer sheets. I know this is like a boys club and nobody wants to rub the feather of the other one the wrong way or anything.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. You want somebody offer sheeting Guhle? You want somebody offer sheeting Slafkovsky?
Well, sign him long term.
You don't want to play that game. You don't want to play that game.
Why?
There's other ways to do it. You don't want to play that game.
Offer sheets are built for Canadian markets that can't fight on the free agent front, just like Tampa, just like Florida, just like Dallas. We have to go and offer sheet some of the best players in the other
Perfect.
in the United States. Otherwise,
okay. How many times does it work? Give me the examples of when it worked. Offer sheets. Let's go. Give me the examples.
Well, yeah, I know it doesn't work, but it has not been tried a lot, right?
It hasn't been tried because it doesn't work.
It would. Why not?
They're going to make the trades. They already made the trade for Doc. They already made the trade for Newhook. You don't make trades just for the sake of making the trades. You make them when you identify an asset is at its lowest, and you don't have to give up as much as you normally would have to. You also make the trades when it's time to pull the trigger. They got a bunch of draft picks over the next couple of years. They're going to pull the trigger. It's going to happen. They're going to pull the trigger. It's going to happen. Thank you so much for calling me, Phil. C'était un plaisir de parler avec toi. Puis j'espère que tu vas m'appeler beaucoup plus souvent ici au SIG Podcast.
Oui, je vais t'appeler souvent puis je vais te donner du bon contenu, Tony. J'ai quelques autres choses à
J'en doute pas, mon ami. J'en doute pas. I have no doubt that you're going to bring great content to the SIG Podcast. Thank you. All right. Agnello, Sammy, I'm master control. Is that it? Am I going to call it a night so I can actually go to the bathroom now or what? Or we got to take one more? What are we doing here exactly? What are we doing?
I'm master control. Is that it? Am I going to call it a night?
That's it. I got Stéphane from Quebec City. Turn the volume down, Stéphane, because or else there's a 7-second delay. Guarda questa qua. Yeah. Oh, he's got the volume on the TV.
I don't have your sound, Tony.
Okay.
I don't understand your sound.
Okay, do you hear me now or no?
I don't have your sound. I don't understand your sound.
He doesn't understand, but I hear the sound come back.
Yes, but I understand you on my TV, but we have a delay of 5 seconds.
We have a delay. Why don't you put in headphones?
Well, I can live with that.
Yeah? You have headphones or no?
Well, I can live with that.
Agnello, why don't we do this? Let's take a 60-second timeout. Let's bring Stéphane in the back room. Let's fix this technical issue. Let's put something up here on the screen saying that we're going to come back in 60 seconds. This way, I could end up getting rid of all the water that I've been drinking since the show started. Can we do that? This way we kill
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Let's go. Are we back? We're back. Okay, let's go. I feel so much better now. Do we have Stefan from Quebec City or what? Oh, no. I've been told that he has technical problems. I don't understand, though. But between you and I, what are the technical problems? What is it exactly? You get on. I give you the link. You come on. You have to make sure you have your headphones on. You have to make sure you connect your headphones. That's it. What's the problem? We can. So now what? We're going to end the show just like this? We can't end the show just like this. We got to get back to Stefan in Quebec City. We got to get back to Stefan in Quebec City. One more call. He just needs headphones. Even Bobby said he just needs headphones. That's it. I don't know how many pairs I have over here. I have this pair here. Let me see here. Hold on a second. Yeah. Now they're showing me all kinds of stuff in behind the scenes. I don't know. Yeah. I have so many pairs of headphones. Yeah, so many pairs. Look at that. 2-3 pairs over there. I can't get Stefan my headphones. What are we doing here? Is this really the way we're going to end the podcast tonight? That Stefan calls in, he wants to call in, and it's not working? Is this the way we're going to end it?
Hello, Tony.
Oui.
C'est toi, Tony?
Oui, c'est moi. C'est qui parle?
C'est Stéphane.
Hey, Stéphane, comment ça va, mon chum? Qu'est-ce qui se passe, là?
Very good. I tried to have the video link, but it doesn't work tonight. But
Okay. What's on your mind?
Hey, Tony, remember in December when we met us at the playground?
Yes.
It was, a Saturday night, Montreal against New York Islanders.
Yeah.
And you asked to me live on the podcast. The other guys can go back to saw this podcast. You asked me,
Just in case anyone wants the proof. The video evidence is there. Yes.
You asked to me, Stefan, do you think the Habs Canadiens progress this year? And I said to you, I don't think they progress since last year. and we was in December, remember?
Okay. Yeah.
But right now, we can see that Slafkovsky progress a lot, very a lot. Suzuki impressed me this time, and Montembeault in the net make a good difference. He won.
Okay.
He win the first place, and I know that Primo win the Molson Cup, but I think you overrated him.
Okay. How did I overrate him? I never said he was going to win a Vezina. I just said that there's a possibility that in 3 years from now, he becomes Montembeault. Okay. I just said he's 3 years younger than Montembeault. 3 years younger than Montembeault. And 3 years from now, it's not out of the question that he could be who Montembeault is right now, maybe a bit better. Now, if most people believe that Montembeault is a top 20 in the National Hockey League, all I'm saying is that in 3 years from now, Primo could probably be a top 20. I'm not overrating him that much.
Maybe
I'm not saying he's a top 3. I'm not saying he's a top 5. I'm not saying he's a top 10.
Sorry?
I'm not saying he's going to be a top 3. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 5. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10. I'm not saying he's going to win the Vezina Trophy. I'm saying in 3 years from now, he could probably end up being what Montembeault is right now. That's it.
Maybe, but it's a long shot. I think Monty show very good skill and very good attitude on the net since last year. And for the next years, like that, I don't.
But hold on a second. When you saw Montembeault play his 14 games in Florida 3 years ago with his 890 safe percentage and his 330-something goals against average, if I would have told you then that 3 years later he was going to be a top 20 goalie in the National Hockey League, would it have been a long shot? Yeah. Did he do it? Yeah.
Yes.
So?
But Monty have a very good skill, a very good style. In the last 2 or 3 years, he has the good movement on the net, but a little bit too slow. A part of a second, but I think more ego, more against a very good team. I see him gonna be very better.
Okay. All right. So your call tonight is to talk about Primo, that you don't think that Primo's going to be as good as some people think he's going to be, number one. And number two, at around Christmas time, you didn't think the Canadiens were progressing. And now on April 4th, do you think they've progressed vis-a-vis 1 year ago? Yes or no?
Yes. I think in April, I'm agree with you. They are progressed this year. They have a progression at the defense. Jacques, to go back to Laval and go in the lineup in the last games, he progressed a lot. With Laval, they are stable. They are a stable a pair.
Strubal's been better. Okay. So if I go back 1 year, if I go back to April of last year, Struble is better. Jacques is better.
Yes.
Guhle's better. Matheson's better. Primo's better, despite what happened tonight. He's better than he was a year ago. Montembeault's better. Suzuki's better. Slaf is better. Jake Evans is better. Armia is better. So who's not better? Yolonen's not better.
The other one,
Raphael Harvey Pinard's not better, and Josh Anderson's not better.
Assets for use, okay. And next year you will see if they sing him or trade him, okay. Evans for me is an asset on the center of the fourth line and killing penalties. Is okay for that. It's not a third line man, okay. For me, New York is a third line man in a good team. So
I agree with you.
The question is, what will happen with Dak, okay? No one have the response, okay? And they have to trade or draft offensive guy. We need a guy who can score goal. It's why Evans is a fourth liner. He works very, very, very well. But
they're gonna get that guy in the draft, Stefan. They're gonna get him in the draft. They're gonna get that guy in the draft. They're gonna draft the forward this time around.
4 or 5, maybe if Montreal.
They need to draft the forward this time around. They need to draft the forward this time around. I think they're going to draft the forward this time around. They need to draft the forward this time around. This is Stefan from Quebec City who says the Canadiens need to add scoring. They will. They will. They're still in their rebuild, Stefan. We don't know if they're going to make the playoffs next year. We know they didn't make it this year. They were officially eliminated tonight. But let me ask you something. A couple of years ago, worst team in hockey. Last year, 5th worst team in hockey. This year, 6th or 7th worst team in hockey, but also another year with a ton of injuries as well. But your first line players becoming better. This is what you need. Right now, you know what they have a problem with? Their 3rd and 4th lines. You know what happens when your 3rd and 4th line is a problem? You don't really have a problem. Because those are the easier players to actually fill out those roles. Those are the easier players to acquire. The problem is when you don't have a top 6, when you don't have a top 3 on D, when you don't have a number 1 goalie, that's the problem.
I'm not absolutely agree with you. To make playoff, you need a very solid 3rd line. 4th line,
I know that.
Maybe but the 4th line and the 3rd line, it's why you won the Stanley Cup, but we are not there. Okay.
I know we're not there. I agree with you, but hold on a second, Stefan. What I'm trying to say is the Canadiens were at a point before where they didn't have a number 1 centerman, where they didn't have a goal scorer, where they didn't have a power forward, they didn't have a number 2 centerman, they didn't have a power play. There was a lack of talent. And now all of a sudden, they have the number 1 centerman, they have the number 2 centerman, they have the size with Doc, they have the size with Slafkovsky, they got a power forward. Caufield's going to bounce back, you know it. Suzuki's established himself once again as that number 1. Caden Guhle's going to be a horse on the fence. They have things they didn't have. They've answered the questions that needed to be answered. So now they need 3rd line and 4th line players. Yes, you're right. But the hardest part of the job is done.
But we need
the hardest part of the job is done.
1 or 2 top 6 to at the offense. Okay, to have a good 3rd line with New York at the center and a good winger, and the 4th other. Okay, I'm agree with you. We can have a trade or draft anything to fill the.
Stefan. Let me just finish with this. Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Caufield. You have your top 3. Kirby Doc as your 2nd line centerman. Now you have 2 wingers that you have to go out and get. One, you're going to draft this summer. The other one, you'll end up acquiring by trade the way you acquired Doc and Nook over the last couple of years with all your draft picks. And then you're done. And then next year, Newhook goes on a 3rd line with Joshua Roy. And then within a couple of years, they end up getting a Luke Tuck on their 4th line or their 3rd line. Lane Hudson and Mayu and Reinbacher eventually will be up in about a year. And they're on their way. And they're going to be a very competitive team for the next 6 to 7 years. And in the next 6 years, I hope they're going to win the Stanley Cup. And if they do, between now and then, this podcast, we're off to the races, my friend.
Tony, I love your analysis. I'm with you. With that, we need to record this section of the podcast. I'm exactly with what you say.
This is the beauty of the podcast. Everything is recorded. Everything is in a library. So for our partners and our sponsors, you can go back and watch yesterday's show, last week, last month, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and their banner is there. Their logo is there. Their name is there. You don't have to worry about a little jingle, 30 seconds, boom, and it's off and it's in the clouds and you can't find it again. Thank you so much for calling.
Remember last March and last year with whom you beat the record of the longest podcast.
With you.
Name him.
With you.
I think our record is 2 hours and 24 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. My record was on my honeymoon. It was 16 hours. Oops. That's another story for another day on another show. We'll talk to you soon. Stéphane in Quebec City. Yes, sir. All right. There you have it. Special thanks to Energy Transportation Group. Special thanks to Labitity. Special thanks to Playground. And special thanks to Accent Insurance Solutions. I really want to thank them because they're behind me 100%. And every now and then I can have all kinds of fun and I can, you know what I mean? I can be myself and open up the lines and try and make people laugh. And they're always behind me. Love those guys. Love you too. To you, my sick army. To you, my sick community. For Agnello and Sammy and Master Control, they're Cavallaro. The Sick Podcast will be back tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Same time, same place. Have a great night, everyone. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. LaVie.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.